Welcome to Electronics Jensen, and today I'm doing my 6-month review of the Nintendo Switch 2. Yep, so the Switch 2 is now 6 months old. And today I'm going to show you everything again, what's inside the box. And then again, I'll tell you how I've got on with this system, what you like to use, what you like to use in TV mode, what you like to use in handheld mode. And also, what are some negatives I might have about the console, and what are my predictions for this bad boy in the future. So, yes, I did keep the box because for resell, if I sell this, say they do a new model, I might get a different, like an OLED, for example. That's later on in the video. We'll discuss what I think the future is going to be. Here's the unboxing. And there is everything on the inside. So the box is actually split into two parts. So this part that comes up has the console and the two Joy-Cons themselves. Try not to tip them over. And then the other half has the dock, grip, and as well as HDMI and the plug. And I must say, I think I'll start off with a few positives, because this box is actually smaller than the original Joy-Con, the original Switch box, which I'll show right now. There you go. Size difference. I mean, this is a Switch 1 OLED though, and the Switch 2. But I think that the console, this is smaller, this bigger box. So no waste with packaging. So as far as the packaging standpoint go, first point, good. So there. So that's the first things you get. So that's the console itself. They're the Joy-Cons. I've kept the original packaging because again, if I want to sell this and get a new model, then the person who gets this after me can enjoy basically opening it, and you know, at least it's packaged carefully. So there's your console with your connectors and the two Joy-Cons. They're black with a bit of blue on this one and red on this one. Some people say it's orange, but I think it's the same neon red from the original Switch. And then inside this part, this is where, well, I guess you could fit a physical game in here. No, this is not the Mario Kart bundle. These were bought separately. But yeah, you can actually fit a physical game in here. That's pretty cool. So there's your £75 Mario Kart. This then just has the instructions, and these are your Joy-Con straps. I realised some of this wasn't properly shown in the unboxing video, so I'm doing it again just to show you. But in here is your 4K Switch 2 dock. Then trust me, get onto that. 4K indeed. And here is the Joy-Con grip. And finally, you've got, so that's the power cord. That's the adapter. This is obviously a UK one. And finally, the HDMI. Now, obviously, I did show it docked. Obviously, I want to show you about handheld options. So, again, you've got the bottom USB-C. But one thing that's really cool about the Switch 2 is that there is a second USB-C on the top. And so, you can just connect it to the top. Now, this is far better for handheld mode. Or if, for example, you get the kickstand down, so you want to play in tabletop mode. There. it's much better for tabletop mode. Now, when it comes to the options of using this charger, it's nice that you've got a few new options, which is great. But that's enough of the. But now that's enough of sort of the overview. Let's look at the hardware. So starting from the top here, we have the on-off button, volume controls. This is the ventilation system for the cooling. This is where the fan blows hot air out. As I mentioned, second USB-C. Headphone. That's the inlet for the cartridges. And then finally, this little hole here is the microphone for the voice chat, or game chat I should say. Underneath here is the little feet for when you put the kickstand down. That I'll explain in a bit. This is where this is the inlet for the sort of double up speakers, but I think it's the air system for the cooling for when it's in the dock. Two studs in here for the dock, and again the bottom USB-C. Obviously, with the Joy-Cons, you've got the buttons, and they click out, and then you've got your joystick, buttons, the home menu, game chat, plus and minus on each side. And then there have been questions about the connector for the Joy-Cons. This is pretty strong. This is pretty strong, I have to say. And if I just, in fact, sometimes there's a button on the back you press, and then that comes out. But it's actually pretty strong. I mean, it's pretty strong, but you can just pull it out like that. Not really sure I could recommend that, but oh yeah, that's one thing. It's a different sound, again. And that's switched the good in on now, so let's turn it on. So there's the home screen, and this is cool. If you press this button, it makes a nice sound. And there is the home screen. Now let's take a closer look. Now we've switched it all on, I can show you all the games, as well as physical games and digital games. I've already done a video on the settings, but it's great. So, first things first, I'm going to fire up Donkey Kong Bonanza. We'll do all my digital games first. So I'm not going to really show you any gameplay, but I will admit, this is a great game if you're looking to get a Nintendo Switch 2. This is great. It's basically like Super Mario Odyssey, but Donkey Kong. And so basically you've got Donkey Kong going around smashing a bunch of things to collect bananas, as it clearly says from the title. And yeah, I mean, I'm not really a game reviewer, I'm more of a casual gamer, but I think in my opinion, if you're looking for a nice adventure, like family-friendly game that the kids can enjoy, Donkey Kong Bonanza is one of them. Okay. That's not the only games I got. I'm now going to show you Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I've only got 5 games on here right now. Now I know this game has a lot of hate for the fact that it should have been a free pack-in rather than a £10 game, but I'm not. But listen, I'm not arguing with £10. I'm not arguing £10, and can I say I'm going to explain the main reason why I really like this game. It's because we actually get to see the inside of. So this is one of the Joy-Cons. So this is going to show you what's actually inside. Yeah, so that's your... Oops. Actually, no, I'll disconnect them because this requires a lot. So this is actually the left Joy-Con, so that's the HD Rumble motor. This is the battery. You can take these quizzes. They basically tell you about the hardware, which is great. And as well, and then you go to these ladders. So this is at the bottom of the Joy-Con here, and then we get the main motherboard. So this is the main motherboard. Now I'm not going to take you around the whole thing because that's forever, but yeah, so I really do like this game for the fact that it's, you know, call me crazy, it's a cheap little game, but to be honest, it's just great. I just think it's a nice thing because we get to see, you know, we get to see the Joy-Con, the console itself, and then we've got the, like, so there's stamps you need to connect of all the different buttons. Then we get to see inside, they do wrist straps, the console camera, the Pro controller, everything. And yes, oops. But yeah, I think it is just a nice game, really, just to go and get to see inside. I mean, I'm just an enthusiast for one of these things, but yeah, you can talk to people and then you can play like these games. So this is the very first one. This is one that actually uses mouse mode. So just connect your wrist strap and then you use the mouse mode to glide this UFO through the of course if you lose. But yeah, a lot of these games actually is for the mouse mode. But some are like for handheld, some are to be docked, some to be... So if you do want to learn about this console, and it's very cheap, especially compared to one of the games we're going to be discussing in a few minutes, but the other one, another tech demo, is called Drag X Drive. So this is telling you to use this entirely uses the mouse mode, so there's no other options to play this game other than the mouse mode. But it's really fun because you drive, but you basically, it's like wheelchair basketball. No, we just come out. I'm not going to play fully, so. So look, we got wheelchair basketball. It's very interesting, I shall say. Put this back on now. And come back up here. Fourth we're going to talk about is the GameCube compatibility. And I did do a little video not too long ago showing a little Easter egg. I didn't fully explain it, but... Oh yeah, we've got a new game. Oh, no. Sorry, Luigi. I want to see what's the... Wario World. Oh, yeah, so we've got 7 games for GameCube, but what I wanted to say, though, is you can actually have the GameCube logo. So what you do, now you need to tilt one of the analog sticks, and now we get that's how we get the... Just a little fun, it makes it a lot more GameCube-like. So, GameCube, my favourite game is F-Zero GX. This is fun. It's like it's a race. I played the Grand Prix most, but it's really great. It's fast, it's very competitive, it's really difficult, but it's great. It's just great. That's my favourite one so far of the games I've played. And finally, to show off the game, this is Mario Kart World, the physical game. So, we just... open this up, and then you have the game card. So we just simply insert into here. And then the game appears at the front. And one of the nice things about the new update is it gives you a little icon to tell you if it's a physical game or a digital game. So a physical game shows the actual game card, and a digital game like this one will show the same blue you had before. Thanks, Alexa.
Anytime.
So annoying, isn't she? That's staying in. Anyway, so Mario Kart World, we'll put it on. Right, let's turn it on. So obviously there's two main modes to Mario Kart World. The first one is the Grand Prix, which you've had in every single Mario Kart game before. But the new one is Knockout Tour. So this is basically where you race through 6 courses all together. So it's one big race through 6 tracks. And then when you reach each track, there's an elimination, and if you are under a certain place you're required to be, then you're basically eliminated. And I will say this is much great when you play online. Then we got time trial, which is time. These are the same ones as before, but now I believe Versus and Battle have had a new update where it's full customization like you could on the old ones. So that's really fun. And I'll just select this for a second. So like we've got a whole roster of different characters. I haven't got all the costumes yet, but you know, a lot of the sort of villains are now playable, and extra characters who you were used to seeing in an audience are now playable. So, but again, you can't customize your car like you could on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Deluxe as well. It's just a preset made, but you know, we've got a nice selection of cars here, and that's all the games I've got so far for Nintendo Switch 2. Now let's carry on with the review. I think before I move on and talk about pros and cons and what I think of the future Switch 2, I'll very quickly just show you a few little accessories I got. This is all I have right now. Don't have any controllers yet, but I do plan on getting them. First obvious one is definitely worth getting a screen protector. It just makes sense, really. £400 console, you don't want to wreck your screen. These are kind of interesting though. So these are basically Joy-Con covers for the Nintendo Switch 2, because you can see here it's got the C button for the C button. These aren't for Switch 1, and the cutout. So I get one of the Joy-Cons like this. All you got to do is just slide that in there, and then boom, and then there you go. It does look a little pinky on the camera, not gonna lie, but it is meant to be the sort. It's like they match the original colours of the Switch, of the Switch 1, the original Switch 1. So get the blue one and do the same thing. And then again, so there we are. So then, and the best part is you can leave these on the Switch 2 anyway with them on. But they have a nice little hump on the back for a little grip, so they're much better for gripping. So it's not a full case or anything, but if you're looking to make these Joy-Cons just a little bit easier to use, they are essentially, they're a good purchase. These were only a £5, so might be worth getting some if you, because they do make the console nice to hold. Not like this, or like what you're seeing right now, and they are very similar to, you know, an old Wiimote jacket where you had the silicone jacket and it gave you a better grip, and these do the same. And of course, they don't get trapped in the Joy-Con strap either. If you're going to use the Joy-Con grip, you do need to take them off, but who cares? you've got it. And finally, a case. So this isn't the official Nintendo case, but this is basically it's not really the all-in-one carrying case, but in here, this is where the console goes with the Joy-Con. You do have to have them connected. There's no option to have them separately. In here, you can store a few games, and then in the bottom, we've got this little cleaning cloth, which is handy, and then this is to store your adapter in and a few wires like the HDMI or the charging cable. So now I've gone through all the accessories. Let's talk about the pros and cons and also where do I think the Switch 2 is going in the future. Right, pros and cons. I'm going to start with the cons first because I just want to get them done with. And because the first con, I have to say, is the cosmetics for the Switch 2. So, this is a £400 console, right? So, you'd expect that, apart from the screen, if you look at it, it does all look to be in mint condition. And it is in mint condition. Almost. And the first problem, the first sort of it has got some damage to it, and it's on the kickstand. The kickstand has got 2 scratches either end on the very base where it sits. So I don't know how that's happened, but there is 2 scratches on the kickstand. And I think because it's a metal kickstand, it does show. And I'm coming on to that because, well, this all does feel nice and premium. The kickstand, I have to say, does feel quite cheap. It's very flimsy as well, so and it's clearly prone to scratching as well. So, but it's not just happened to me. There's been other people who've had their kickstand get scratched, so that's not great. And as you can see from the clip that I'm playing now, the Joy-Cons get dirty on the inside, but that's not really a problem. You can just clean that out. But again, that's a problem. I mean, it shouldn't. It's almost as if the inside, as you start to put it, as you keep inserting the Joy-Cons, like it's rubbing off, so it's wearing out. So that could be it. I don't know, or it's just collecting dirt by leaving it out. But it's not permanent. It can be cleaned off. So I'm not complaining about that. Another thing I would like to point out is, again with these Joy-Cons. First of all, no drift at all. There's been no drift problem with these Joy-Cons, which is a relief, but I think that it had been fixed. So while everything is nice and premium, it's nice and fun, I can't see any damage to them. I do notice very slight, like the texture on the joystick is starting to wear off. It looks worse on this one because this one gets used a lot more than this one. And I did have one little hiccup with this analog stick. So one day I was using it and it stopped working completely. It wouldn't respond, and I'm going, oh no, please don't, please tell me this isn't broken. But thankfully I just came out the game, restarted it, and I've not had that since. So yeah. Cosmetics, the little niggles, I mean that does bother me, the kickstand, but I'm not going to lie, I think it's a problem with metal kickstands because I've got my Switch 1 here, and this is also a metal kickstand, and although it's not as easy to see because this being being bright red, but there is scuffs on the edge, on this edge as well. So maybe it's just a problem with these metal kickstands. But yeah, I wish the Switch 2 did have this kickstand, I'm not going to lie, because this feels a lot better than that very flimsy one. And if I do compare the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, Switch 1 OLED, I gotta say, I do still use this, but this is a massive improvement. It really is. It's a massive improvement over this one, And for the overall design of the console, I think these magnets are just so much better than the old slidey rails. I mean, this isn't going away anytime soon. A second con is these game cartridges. And no, it's nothing to do with the horrible taste. It's game key card. So basically, on this game card, this Mario Kart game, the entire game data is stored on this card. With these game key cards, and they're mainly third-party suppliers, the game's not actually on the card. Instead, all you get is this download code. I can't really say I don't have any of these game key cards at this moment in time, but apparently they don't contain any game data. Instead, they contain essentially a download code. So when you plug it into your console, it digitally downloads the game, which is weird because the idea of physical media is that the game data is always stored on the cartridge. The idea, and it saves space on your hard drive, or your micro SD card. Now, these cards don't just a stupid little download code to digitally download the game. What? Why are we getting physical game cards connected to a download code? That makes no sense. You do it two ways. You either go to a store, buy a case like this, buy a physical game with a nice box, and this one's got box art, and then you get your game physically stored on the card. You pop it in, and every time you use this game, new levels, it's all stored on here. But these game key cards require a download, and you'll know it's a game key card because there'll be a little key symbol here. Again, I don't have one, but this is probably something I might consider because this is weird. It's confusing and it doesn't make sense. It's basically a problem to a solution that didn't exist in the first place. And finally, I think my third con is the price. Is this worth £400? That doesn't include any games. Is this worth £75? This absolutely is not worth £75 or $80. I think it'd be better if it was more 50. I'd go 60, 75. Absolutely not. £400 for this. I think maybe $350 would be enough. I think $400 with this bundled in would be fine. $350 or maybe $330 is enough for this. So that's the cons. What are the pros? First pro is, well, it's the size. I mean, it just feels more premium despite those cosmetic damages. It's very nice. It's a portable system. Even though it's bigger, it's portable. It's still. And, I absolutely love the 1080p, 120 frames per second. Games that could support that look absolutely. And on TV mode, when you've got it docked, the 4K is absolutely incredible. It's just such fine details. I love them. And so that's the first pro. Second pro is that second USB-C at the top, because you've got better options for charging. Oh yeah, one final con is the battery life. It's about 2 hours to 3 hours, depending on the type of game, which isn't great, but I play that an hour and most each time, so it's not really a problem for me. So yeah, that's a bit of a pro and a con, the battery life. This is more of a pro than a con. The Switch 2 does get noticeably hotter than the Switch 1, especially in dock mode. As soon as if you take it out of the dock after you've played on it on your TV, the internal fan in the unit itself does just spin like that, and you can really feel the heat coming off. But I know the dock uses like like crystal liquid cooling to cool when it's in the dock. So there's no problems with overheating. What else? I think another pro I want to say is GameCube. Absolutely, GameCube it looks great. It's a GameCube emulator. I never had a GameCube, so I'm not really experienced in it. I grew up with the Wii, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah, so that is another thing. I do like GameCube, and if you get the online expansion pack, any sort of Switch 2 editions can automatically be added. So if it's a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of a game, then you've got that option just to use your online membership, so you don't have to then go to the eShop and pay directly. eShop, another pro, much better than Switch, absolutely. Everybody says that. Let's move on. Yeah, that's another thing. What else? I haven't used it, but game chat will always be a positive to communicate with your friends and family and wherever else. So it's not really, the ability to communicate with online players isn't something really seen since Miiverse on the Wii U. So again, that's great. Don't have the camera, I get it, but again, game chat's great. Yeah, that's pros and cons. So that's the review of the Nintendo Switch 2. But before we finish, I want to discuss what I think could be good. What could we expect to see from this console, even though it's just 6 months old? Let's take a look. So, what could we expect for the future of Nintendo Switch 2? I could definitely see more Switch Edition games, more both first party and third party. I mean, yeah, game key cards will suck, but I think that they do have. I know I was negative. They can be sold. It's not like you put it in once, it downloads it, and then that's it. It's useless. It can be resold. So yeah, there's that positive. Secondly, I would like to see more colour. More colour would also be something kind of good for the Nintendo Switch 2. Because right now we've only got this one option. Black with neon blue and neon red. It does look sleek, but I take my Switch OLED. This is a Mario edition, all red edition. It was nice because we've got a Mario edition, and obviously if I open up the Mario dock, we've got a picture of Mario himself, and we've got coins. So that's some sort of personality. I would like to see more Joy-Con colours, more editions of Switch 2, because I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with this colour, but it is a bit bland, isn't it? I would have liked a second option, maybe all black and then the red. But then again, just doing it as accent colours does help prevent, confusion from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. So I can't really complain. Finally, for my sort of wish list for the Nintendo Switch 2, Wii games and DS games are going to be added to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack for Switch 2. Wii was the very first gaming console I ever played. So I played Wii Sports, Mario Kart Wii, Wii Play, Mario and Sonic, Olympics, and as well as Olympic Winter Games. And I do really think that Wii could, let's not forget, Wii can now come to the Nintendo Switch Online because, for one, it's already got the vibration with the HD Rumble. It's also got the gyroscope for the cursor, and because the Switch 2 doubles up as a mouse, then I believe it could, you can see the cursor on when you use mouse mode, which I did show in my other video when I went through all the demos. But I do really want Wii games to come to Nintendo Switch Online, and I can pretty much see this happening. I didn't have a DS, but again, it would be great to have DS on the Wii, on DS and Wii on the Nintendo Switch Online. And I will 100% believe that we will get a Nintendo Classics Wiimote and Nunchuck. They'll probably look like the old Y one, and probably up here they'll stick a C button on there, and maybe and obviously you'll have the connect button on the back. But yeah, I'd happily pay the expansion pack. Now I do think Wii would be a Switch 2 exclusive like GameCube. I think DS probably would be Switch 1 as well as Switch 2. Probably would be easier to do Switch 1 and Switch 2, but definitely Wii will be a Switch 2 exclusive. And that concludes my review, 6-month review of the Nintendo Switch 2. And I hope you enjoy it. Maybe this might help encourage you. There's some problems, but that's to be expected. But I absolutely enjoy this console. It was worth every penny I've spent for it. It might be a bit too pricey. I'd love to see it a bit less. But if you are considering getting a Switch 2 and you want to buy one, absolutely go for it. I'll do a 1 year review when I've hopefully got a few more accessories and played it some more to really use all the features. But I hope you've really found this enjoyable. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Alright, and see you in the next one.